Hi there, and welcome to the second video, episode 2, I guess, of my journey into the world of weaving. Joined by a very special guest here with Alexander Skarsgård. Unfortunately, I couldn't really afford to pay him to speak or move, so he's just going to stand there and look cool while I get on and do things. So, we've got our loom all set up and ready on the table here, so let's shift things around and show what's going on. So here we have the loom all set up. It's currently technically facing backwards. So this is the back end. This is the front end that we'll be working from. We've got the more space here so we can do our proper weaving. So the theory is, what we need to do is we attach our yarn here onto here, and then it's fed through the slots. You can see that, fed through the long slots down to a peg all the way over there, and then it loops back round there, back over to there, back again, back and forwards until you've got the full width that you want. First thing, however, we've got to think about is how far away do we need that peg to be. Now I'm just going to be going for a simple scarf, which is generally around about 6 foot long, but there is going to be a certain amount of wastage. Because from here through to about here, we're not really going to be able to use because obviously it's attached through. And then the same on this end, where it all gets tied on its pieces, there's also going to be a certain amount of wastage. So 6 foot scarf, I've measured out just over 7 foot. So that should give us plenty of room to do what we need to do. So let's have a go at this and see how difficult it is. Because obviously all the other videos, they make it look very, very easy. However, I am a numpty. So, let's see what goes on here. So we tie on this end. Nice and tight. Here we go. Lovely. And using this clever little tool, what we can do is we can feed it in between the slots. Hook it on, there we go, and we pull it all the way down to the end. So we now have essentially 2 threads going through the same slot. So I'm just going to drop this one off. There we are. So that's number 1, he says, attempting to sound confident. Okay, so now, as you can see, this thread here is on top of our stick here, so we need to go underneath. So this time I'm going to do facing up. I'm going to go in through the second slot. Pop that down, grab hold, and pull it through. There we go. Now, I've got my yarn in a bowl on the floor so that the thing doesn't bugger off halfway across the kitchen while I'm trying to do this. So, this is the theory. And literally just grab it up, pull it through. The next one will go over the top, then underneath, over the top, underneath, and we work our way along. So, let's see how that goes, shall we? Okay, come across my first problem, which I did say I was going to be making problems. I'm learning to do this as we go. One thing I definitely recommend is actually work out how much yarn you have and how much you're going to be using so that you don't run out before you finish. Which is a minor inconvenience, it's not the end of the world. It just means that the scarf's going to be a little narrower than I'd originally planned on, but we'll work on it. So, we've done as far as we can on this, so now we need to go and bundle up and cut the other end, and then the whole lot's going to get wound on onto the back end, and then on to the next step. So, let's grab that end. Okay, so before we go taking all this lot off, I've just got a little bit of spare yarn here. I'm just going to tie it around up here. Just stop things from going a little too wayward later on. There we go. Right, so take all this one off. He says. There we go. And with my nice little shears, I'm just going to cut through it all. There we are, no turning back now. This is happening. So here we are, back at the back end of the loom. So what the plan is essentially we're going to bundle all this up, get some nice tension, pulling this way, and then wind this through, keeping it nice and neat. Now this is much easier with two people, so you've got one person to do the rolling, one person to pull the tension. However, not everyone's got an extra pair of hands, so I'm going to give it a go on my lonesome and see what happens. Now, as we're feeding through, if you watch the previous video on the build of the loom, there are these nice cardboard strips which will fit in underneath here, keeping each of the layers separate from each other. It'll make more sense once it's starting to get wound on. But let's see how we go. So I'm just going to hold this fairly snug, and then we'll just start winding through. There we go. Now of course it would be easier if I was on the other side because that's where the ratchet handle is. But as I said on the last one, I never said I was that bright. So there we go, that's starting to, oh, we're getting a little, you can see it's starting to bunch up in places. So I'm just going to spread it out a little bit. And then let's see if we can't neaten this up. There we go, that's a bit better. There we are. There we are, keep that a little bit neater. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, keep winding. Okay, so you can see the bar underneath is just getting to the point where it's about to meet. So, there we are. That's starting to lift up. Keep winding. And then what I'm going to do is get one of these cardboard strips. I'm just going to feed that underneath. There we go. So I'll stop any of the layers dropping through, because if they start dropping through, then it's going to lose your tension and it's going to be a bit of a sloppy weave. And let's face it, no one wants a sloppy weave. So just keep on winding, keep on winding. There we go, coming up on the next one. Okay, yeah, I think we're doing all right, we're doing all right. This is a learning experience after all. Okay, I think I've got the hang of it, so I'm going to speed it up a little bit and we'll see how it goes. So if I have any issues, I'll bring you back in again. Right, so that is it, pretty much all wound on. I've left myself a bit of leave over here, just in case. So you can see that's where it'll come to. Now, as you can see already, it's gone a little lumpy bumpy in places. So I definitely recommend, if you have got a second person who can help out, that'll be brilliant. But in the meantime, we're now on to the second last part of our prep work. We've got it all the way through here, which is all very nice, but we need to be able to separate this into different layers depending on where we're going. So down here, as you can see, what we've got is we've got 2 threads through that one slot. And what we need to do is feed one of these threads through that tiny little hole there. But luckily, there's a tool for that. There we go, you can see that. Kind of like it's the other end of the tool that we have. Kind of like a flat little crochet hook. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop that through, and I'm going to go to the right hand side as I'm looking at it. We go through, hook that on. He says trying to sound confident. There we go, and then we just pull that straight through. There we are. So that's one through the slot and one through the hole. And we'll just pop that to one side so it doesn't get in the way. So let's just check that again. So we're on the next one. Here we go. We have our 2 threads. And we'll take the top one. Through here. Hook it on. Pull that through. There we are, one through the hole, one through the slot. So there we are. So what this does is this enables us, as we raise and lower the heddle, it will change the way the threads are. So at the moment they're in neutral, so they're all sat like that. And then when we move it, one way they'll go like that, and the other way they'll go like that. And that is what will allow us to do our weaving. Looks like some sort of weird jellyfish in the go, doesn't it? There we are. So, we'll speed this up again and see if I make any more mistakes on the way. Okay, so that took us about 15 minutes or so to get it all fed through. It's definitely time consuming getting yourself set up and ready, but should be worth it in the end. So we're now on to what is pretty much the final stage, which is getting all of this lot attached onto the front end. And to make my life a little easier, it was a tip from another crafter on YouTube. So I'll just put some elastic bands on the end here just to keep it up and in place while we go. So what we're going to do is, I'll tell you what, I'll start at this end, is I'm going to grab these in groups of, I think I'll probably go for groups of 4. Get off. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to tie it onto this end. Groups of 4. You know what, I think actually I'm going to go for groups of 8. Otherwise I'm going to be here all night. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There we go. Yeah, that's going to be better. So groups of 8, and what we're going to do is tie it onto this end. And I'm assured the best way of doing this, I think it's a surgeon's knot, but where we come underneath and then bring it back up to the top, preferably without grabbing everything else in the process. Let's move that out of the way. There we go. Because then what we can do is we can pull it tight. We'll tie that up. can see here I've actually left myself a little too much slack, but I'd rather have too much than not enough. And then he says, trying to get my arms in the right place, there we go. There we are. We can tie that there, and we'll tighten that in a minute. Actually, let's bring that back here. There we go. So we'll do another group of 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, go in here. 3, 4. Okay, so these ones again from the top, going down underneath. There we go. Grabbing that, pull that a little snug. And just one initial tie off there. And then once I've done all the rest of them, we'll go through, make sure that it's all nice and tight, do a proper bow in them, and then that's basically us ready to go. So stick around, I'll get the rest of this done. Okay, there we are. That's it, basically prepped now. We are just about ready to go. So what I need to do now is just wind this back a little bit onto the working end so I can release the ratchet here. There we go. So that's all just slackened off. It dropped a little too quick for my liking. And then we just wind it on, wind it on. I'm just going to take it to about there. Put that ratchet back on. Tighten it back up. There we go. Lovely and snug, like a horizontal harp. And I think that's where we're going to leave it today. Next one, we'll be actually sorting out all these gaps here and actually starting on the weaving. So, what have we learnt today? We have learnt that 4 hands are better than 2, although I suspect that's probably true in quite a few situations. We have learnt to actually measure out how much yarn you have before you start on your project, otherwise you will end up running short. And I would say thirdly, as I was tying these out, I was doing it in groups of 8. These last 2 actually ended up being in 2 groups of 6. So in future, actually count out how many threads you have and calculate how many will go into a group nice and easily. But I think for my first go at putting this all through, pretty damn successful. I'm alright with this. So stick around for the next one. And as before, look after yourself, look after other people, and I'll catch you next time.